All righty, we will call the Sanitary District meeting to order, please. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call, please.
Mr. Gambala?
Here.
Mr. Kmetz?
Here.
Mr. Setlak?
Here.
Ms. Sims-Smearshak?
Here.
We have 4 members present, enough for a quorum this evening.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, with the resignation of our past president, I will entertain a motion for a nominee for a new president of our Sanitary District Board.
I'd like to nominate Rob Kmetz.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other nominations?
I move we close nominations.
Okay, any second on the closure?
Oh, I'll second that.
Okay, all righty. So we have a nomination on the table to have Rob Kmetz take over as acting president with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the June 16th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Also move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Under new business, we have the utility relocation project along the east side of US 41 that we discussed at the last meeting. We have all the documentation. Is there any discussion that needs to take place?
Oh, there's some, if I understand it right, that the Economic Development Commission wants to be on there as owner, along with us?
I'm not aware of that. Redevelopment Commission.
Or redevelopment, whichever.
Well, Redevelopment Commission was originally the one who started the process, but I believe we're asking the Sanitary Board to take over as the owner of that project and sign the documents when they become, when they're finalized. They're in draft form right now being reviewed.
Because I just want to be sure, the redevelopment, it's like, well, if they want to have some skin in the game and pay for some of it, I look at it, they can be the owner, but if they're not, I don't see why they should be included.
Yeah, that's fine. We would just need the Sanitary Board to take action to accept the responsibility for that project, and we can make sure that the documents reflect the Sanitary Board.
And then I have another one. In terms of the fund, I believe at our last meeting, Clerk Treasurer mentioned about the fund that the money would be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And the money that goes into that fund, I'm not too sure about where that money comes from. Is that coming from building permits or?
No.
The Sanitary Fund 265 is what she called it, but I don't know what exactly goes in there.
So that's the Sanitary District's account, and that money comes from tax revenues derived by the city, I'm sorry, by the town, and it's my understanding that we intend to approach the board about seeking a bond for a number of different improvements, including this. But I think what we need to work out is whether that's going to be a water utility or a sewer utility bond, wastewater utility bond. So it's my understanding that part of the proceeds of that bond will be used to help pay for these improvements.
Oh, because she was saying about they're coming from that fund and gave us several years of beginning balances and ending balances. And where the source of the funds or the estimated revenue for that fund comes from, I would be curious. Because if it's on something that may not be growing, because I'm not too convinced there'll be a whole lot of the economy, and if it's coming from building permits somehow funneling their way into that fund, I'm not So sure, building permits will continue on as they have in the past.
Yeah, let me find out about the source of that, and like I said, it's my
'Cause I
understanding.
don't want to leave that fund shortchanged.
Right, like I said, I believe that it's our intention to seek a bond, approval of a bond to pay for that, set of improvements as well as some other things. And I need to check on the status of that, bond process to see where we're at with that. So I'll have to check with the clerk treasurer.
Yeah, because that gives me an uncomfortable feeling about signing off and committing the town for a fair amount of money and not knowing about its replenishment and where things are coming from. I think it's better to be funded before those things are done, or that you have a means to cover it, or for any anticipated.
So she indicated that it was 266, Fund 266, that this was supposed.
265,
I'm sorry, 265, that this would come from.
that's what she said, sanitary fund, 265. But I'm not sure where the revenue comes from that goes into that fund.
You know what, moving forward, the clerk treasurer has always made herself available to meet with us. I suggest we set up a meeting to meet with her, a casual meeting, an informational session where she can sit down with this board and explain some of these questions.
Okay.
I think that would better serve our purposes, especially moving forward, since we have a lot of unanswered questions here.
And looking at it, and I'm looking more at the future. She explained why there's funds in there now without any of the bonding stuff you talked about. Last time she
Well,
explained
that's
anticipate.
my question is, some of it's coming out of our fund, our sanitary fund, and then some will be by the bond. Will the sanitary board have to pay back the bond?
Right.
Because when we did the force main Sherrill, the sanitary board had to pay back the bond.
Right.
So that's the question I have.
Yeah. So there
We have
are,
sufficient revenue in order to do both of those things.
there are some questions that we can address our clerk treasurer with before our next meeting, so we'll have sufficient answers.
Do we know the breakdown between how much is going to be floated through bonds and how much from the fund?
So it would be, it's my understanding, if we seek a bond for this project, then we would basically use the funds that are on hand in the fund to pay the, annual costs, annual payments for the
Payment for the
bond.
bonds.
So we
Okay,
would
so-
not, it would not be the intention to pay for the entire, project out of the proceeds right off, right in one fell swoop. So, we need to check on the status of that bond and make sure that we're clear on that. Because there's obviously the sanitary district fund and the wastewater utility fund. And it's my understanding that the sanitary district fund is paid for by property taxes. It's a levy that's collected, in order to fund that fund. And then the wastewater utility is user fees that are collected. And so we just need to be clear about which one we're bonding against and, what the payments look like and all that sort of thing. So I think we should hopefully have more information in time for your next meeting.
That would be good, because this is the first we're hearing about a bond, so
Mhm.
it would be nice to have some information relative to that. Okay,
Okay?
all right. Any other discussion?
No, not for me.
No? All righty, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the utility relocation project for the amount of $333,699 from Grimmer Construction.
Patty, can we make that a not to exceed?
Yes, not to exceed $333,699, not to exceed.
What is that? Are we going to wait for about the funding and,
Well, that's the total cost of the project, so.
well, I understand
I
that.
think-
But I mean, can we pay for it? I mean, reasonably and, I know that's the cost,
Okay.
but are we all going to have it? The ownership got cleared up. If they want to jump back on for half of it, I'd go along with that.
Oh, I don't think that's the intention. So we're not in a rush to sign that contract today. Like I said, it's in draft form. So if you want to hold off on approving this until you have your contract in hand,
That would be better.
and you have the answers you need from the
I think
Treasurer.
what we're saying
treasurer and our
Yeah.
bond
is
counsel.
Approve the project and approve the amount for the bid.
Yeah.
But the only thing is we have to approve them where the expenditures are coming from and where the money, that's not been approved with this motion. No. We're approving the contract.
We're approving, yeah.
You're approving taking, just to be clear, you're approving taking over the project? Taking ownership of the project?
We're basically approving the work, but I believe that we will defer the final approval of the cost until the next meeting, until we can absolutely determine where the funding is coming from.
Okay.
Okay? So we will have that on the agenda for next month's meeting.
Okay.
Okay? All
You
righty.
saw that a motion, right? Motion to approve the cost.
Okay. We have a motion out there to approve the cost not to exceed $333,699. Do I hear a second?
$669.
Or 690,
That was Mr. Kometz?
699.
It's on the bottom there.
Was that Mr. Kometz that made the motion?
Okay, I
Yeah.
was looking at the middle one.
Yeah, I know, it's confusing. I saw that too. It's 699.
That was
Make a
Mr.
motion
Kometz
to
that made the
approve that
motion?
amount.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Gambale to approve that
Gambale.
amount.
I'll second.
And Rob Komet, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, and we'll get all this gray matter cleared up before the next meeting. Any reports and correspondence? Anything new? All right. Moving forward, we have the payment of bills. We will do the sanitary district first. For the month of June, we have APVs in the total amount of $25,950.84.
Make a motion to approve that the July 21st posted sanitary district APVs.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And for the month of June, the wastewater dockets in the amount of $392,055.33. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the wastewater APVs in the amount of $392,055.33.
I'll second.
And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any public comment? I have none submitted here that was submitted in writing. Any public comment from the audience? Okay,
I make a motion to adjourn.
hearing that, here, we have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Motion adjourned.